Paul Spina to come forward and to introduce our commencement speaker.
Today we're honored to have as Auburn's commencement speaker General Richard B. Myers. General Myers retired as the 15th chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff on October 1, 2005. After serving more than 40 years in the U.S. Air Force, during his term as chairman, he served as principal military advisor to the President, the Secretary of Defense, and the National Security Council. He began his term just a few weeks after the terrorist attacks on September 11, 2001, and was instrumental in guiding the U.S. strategy for the war on terrorism. During his tenure as chairman, he also oversaw the U.S. military's role in relief efforts for the tsunami that struck the Pacific in December of 2004 and the hurricanes Katrina and Rita in 2005. General Myers is a native of Kansas City, Kansas, and a 1965 graduate of Kansas State University. In 1977, he received a Master of Business Administration degree from Auburn University, Montgomery. We are really pleased to now welcome one of our alums, General Richard Myers.
Well, thank you very much. It's a great honor to be here. I get to cover a couple of firsts today. Even though I'm a graduate of Auburn University at Montgomery, it's my first time on this beautiful campus, so I appreciate that fact. And it's also my first graduation ceremony from Auburn. I didn't make the last one for some reason, don't know why exactly. So I'm honored to be here. I'm proud to be an Auburn alumnus. And I'm proud to be a product of the land-grant school system. I really believe in the land-grant charter and was proud to go to Kansas State University and proud, of course, to go to Auburn. Some people say, well, who do you cheer for when you're cheering for sports? And what's the better school? Is it K-State or Auburn? Very similar schools in many respects. And I said, well, I don't know, but I'm not sure my school is all that smart, at least in the athletic department. What school would choose as its first football game of the season to come down here to Auburn and play, as we did last year? And I've had a talk with our coach. I said, Coach, I know you want to strive to be a little better and raise the level of our game, but I don't think starting at Auburn, first game of the season, is really all that bright. Turned out to be actually a pretty good game, but in the end, Auburn prevailed. Go War Eagle. I am honored to be here. I was thinking as I see you all sitting there, well, I was sitting there in the middle 60s getting ready to graduate from Kansas State University, and you think about the world as it was at the time, and it was a world that was really in turmoil in many respects. We had the Vietnam War was ramping up. We had the military draft, which was certainly contentious. We had the Cold War with the Soviet Union, which meant that nuclear crisis was just around the corner. We had the Cuban Missile Crisis. We had the Cuban refugee crisis. We had civil rights issues in the 60s. Lots of demonstrations, many near here, some ending in violence. So there was a lot of turmoil in the time that I was graduating. And I think if you look back, you can say, well, you know, we dealt with those fairly successfully. The Cold War's over and so on. We've had a lot of success then with what was potentially very divisive or corrosive events that could have affected our way of life in this great country. Not without, of course, lots of dollar costs, not, of course, without lots of loss of lives, and of course not without a lot of intellectual energy. So where do we find ourselves today? I'm retired from the military. I'm still pretty active in some things, but you all have the ball now. So where are we today? I think the challenges you face are even greater. A lot of them come to mind. Energy. We still, in my view, don't have a good, sound energy policy for this country, let alone for this planet, and we need to come to grips with that. We've got environmental issues that are only going to get worse as the population of our planet grows. You're going to have to struggle with that for sure. We have to learn how to deal effectively with the fact that the world is flat, as Tom Friedman said, and that globalization is a reality, and we have to learn to deal with that in a way that's good for us and good for our international friends and allies. So there's a lot on our plate. The last one I would offer up is something that I dealt with as my time as chairman, and that's the threat from violent extremism. If there's a threat that could end our way of life or severely alter it, it's the threat from violent extremism, of which we saw some of on 9/11. And if you have ruthless people willing to kill innocent men, women, and children and use any means to do so, nuclear, biological, whatever, then you have a real threat that you need to deal with. And it's a subject of another talk. And I'll just say that I don't think it's primarily the military that has to deal with this threat. It's other instruments of power. But those are the challenges you're going to face. And you could say, well, they're pretty daunting. Well, they look pretty daunting in '65, the ones that I reeled off about the challenges that my generation faced. I have no doubt that we'll be successful. We'll come through this next period and we'll be able to solve those challenges and move on to make a better world. And why is that? Well, I got to spend some time this morning with a few folks graduating today, and you're smart and you're flexible in the way you think, and you've got great energy and impatience to do better in the world, to lead. And that's what you should do. You are obviously leaders, or you wouldn't be sitting in these chairs before me. Let me give you three thoughts as you think about leading. The first one would be on integrity. You've got to lead with integrity. My dad said when he saw my first grade transcript from Kansas State, he said, well, at least we know you're not cheating. I was pretty proud about that myself. He could actually say that for many semesters, it turned out. Integrity is a very important thing. You'll be tested. You've probably been tested already here at Auburn. Hopefully you've thought about this in the classroom. Hopefully you've discussed it, because you're going to be tested when you go out into the world and take on the challenges that I just talked about. And you must lead with integrity. It's the only option. I can remember as a lieutenant in the United States Air Force, fairly new out of ROTC at Kansas State. I'm now a pilot, and we were having maintenance problems in the unit I was in, and we couldn't fly as many sorties as we wanted to fly. And they said, well, just pencil whip those training requirements. You don't have to really do them, just write them in there. Some people did that very quickly. Others gave it a lot of thought and didn't do that. And certainly there was pressure from above. So you're going to get lots of pressures. And hopefully you've thought about this and who you are and what kind of person you are and how your mom and dad raised you, or whoever raised you, the values that they instilled in you, and hopefully you'll lead with integrity. The second one is, I think you need to lead selflessly. You have some great role models here at Auburn in that regard. And I refer to the professors and the faculty and the support staff. My guess is that these folks that have spent the last 4 or 5, or how many years, families? 4 or 5, 6, 7? The last 4 years with you, 5 years, we'll give you a little bit there. There's a lot of things they could do in life. There's probably a lot of things they could do in life that would earn a lot more money than what they've been doing here for Auburn University and for you. So they have served in a way selflessly to try to help our country with producing great citizens that can take on these challenges. So my hat's off to the faculty. That is you have perfect role models here for selfless service. And I would also say, if you haven't already thought of it on your own, that as hard as some of them were on you, in a couple of years, give them a call, tell them what you're doing, because they've invested a lot of time, no doubt a lot of sweat, maybe some tears. You need to call them and say, hey, here's what I'm doing now. They would appreciate that. That sort of feedback would probably make more difference in their lives than in almost anything you could possibly do. This idea of selfless service, since it's the 40th anniversary year of Martin Luther King's death, I did a little research, and I found a quote that I think fits here. And he said, life's most urgent question is, what are you doing for others? So I know you're eager to go out there and earn your first million, your first billion. It seems easy to do today. Everybody's doing that. Or to make a mark wherever you're going to make a mark. But think about the fact that with your rights, you have responsibilities in this country. And our country doesn't have to be the way it is. It is the way it is because people like you give of themselves selflessly beyond things that are of their own self-interest. And so whether it's working in your community, whether it's working in your state, at the federal level, public service of some sort, coming back to teach, international work, think about leading in a selfless way, if you would. And the last one is, you got to lead intelligently, with your intelligence. You've got a lot of brain power out there. I mean, I can hear it all. Well, actually, probably a pretty hard night last night. My guess is the brain power is kind of an idle right now, and that's maybe where it ought to be for today's ceremony. But you got to lead intelligently. You know, most Americans don't know who their congressmen or senators are. Most Americans don't even know how those people vote on their behalf, or even what the key issues are. And you can't just rely on the headline news and the sound bites to keep yourself interested and motivated. Passion without critical thought is worse than apathy. And you've been taught here at Auburn how to think critically. So as you go forward, engage your noodle, engage your noggin, and think critically about the issues, and then participate in the debate. Again, this country doesn't have to be the way it is. It's only this way because smart people participated in the debate way back to Revolutionary War times through to today. And those challenges I talked about are exactly the sort of things that where we need your horsepower. I am very optimistic about the future. I am very optimistic. Again, I know that you're eager. I know you're smart. I know you want to make a difference in this world. And I think if you lead with integrity, look beyond your own self-interest, and try to do something above and beyond for others, that we will be a much better country when we come out the other side of it. So no matter what you want to do in the future, maybe mom and dad are going to spend money for your master's degree. Is that right, moms and dads? Or your PhD or whatever. No matter what it is you're going to do, think about your responsibilities to our society. Try to lead with integrity and other things that I said, and take on these challenges. There are lots of folks counting on you. I'm certainly counting on you, but the ones that are really counting on you are my grandchildren. My oldest is 6. You know, when she gets to be sitting, hopefully where you're sitting, you'll have already paved the way and crunched through a lot of those challenges. There'll be certainly new challenges, but you'll have already done that. So my congratulations to you, to your families, to your loved ones, to all that are supporting you and have supported you here as you've gone through Auburn University. It's my great honor to be with you today, and I wish you the best of luck. Thank you.